Hi, I'm Mystery, and I want to thank you for coming back to my channel. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like option and subscribe. If you want to wait till after you watch a video to see if this is something that you'd be interested in, do feel free to do that too. I'm sure I'll ask you again later on. But yeah, and to the people who are coming back, now part of the community, I thought of a fun little name for our community. I'm going to call us the Low Techs. And if you're familiar with William S. Gibson, you'll remember that reference. If you've seen the movie Johnny Mnemonic, you'll remember that I think it was Ice-T was in charge of the Low Techs in that series. A lot of fun. I base everything, well, I don't base everything, but I am really into cyberpunk, like William S. Gibson style cyberpunk stuff, and Tron, obviously, with the lights. But yeah, anyway, I'm glad to have you guys back. So we're going to tackle how to identify a pyramid scheme this go around. Last episode was how to identify a legitimate MLM and some of the ways that a legitimate MLM can kind of jump into an actual scam. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and take care of that. And let's jack in. Let's get this done. Okay, what is a pyramid scheme and how do we identify one? Actually, how do you spot one is the way the article goes. So just kind of a quick recap, as well as a short disclaimer. This is the second video in my series where I am going to be tackling MLMs. Specifically, I'm going to be tackling the financial aspects of MLMs. We're going to grab a different MLM each week, identify it, throw the questions that we are getting from the FTC, which I have it up here on another monitor. So if you see me look up, I'm catching my spot and I got a script right here. So if I look away, please don't hold that against me. I'm finding that I can't just willy-nilly or, speak these out. I have to follow some form of a script. That way I stay on topic. But anyway, so we're going to apply these questions because, as I said in the first video, I did a lot of research trying to find out the definition of an MLM, stuff like that. And then that led me to FTC.GOV, and the search option top right allows you to go to the MLM page or article that they have, which is really good. It's a really good article. It reads like somebody who genuinely cares about people not getting involved in these sort of business practices. So it's very, it's very reassuring to know that there's an actual government agency that is really actually trying to help you with this. But anyway, also by going into the financials and stuff like that, ultimately we're going to be discussing what works best for you. Now, I am not a financial advisor, and I say this in my other playlist that I have related to financial liberation and not living paycheck to paycheck anymore and getting yourself in a more stable situation with the means that you have. These are just things like with that, it's just ways that I learned how to manage my money. So they're my ways. If they work for you, cool. If they don't work for you, please leave a comment below in those videos. I mean, you could bring it to this video if you wanted to. I mean, conversation is what it is, but what works best for you? How did you get past that situation? So anyway, last year in 2020, the human malware is what I heard that used. I want to say not Linus Tech Tips, but J2 used that term back when you couldn't say the actual name of the virus on YouTube. But so it stuck with me. That ravaged everything pretty bad. People were getting laid off of work. People were losing their jobs, just straight fired. People's jobs shut down because they weren't considered not essential, or you couldn't, the restaurant business or something like that, you couldn't go in there and hang out. So a lot of people found themselves with a lot of extra time, and they realized that they were having a rough way to go. You don't have income coming in. That's a big problem. So I know someone close to me got caught up in an MLM, and that's going to be the first MLM company that I look at and really apply these questions to. And it took their most precious resource, which is time. You can't get time back. So you choose what to spend your time on, and you choose wisely depending on what you're trying to do. So she was spending an additional 8 hours a day on top of, because she was at the time working 8 hours for a financial company before her position was removed. But she was putting in 80 hours a week with 40 additional hours applied to this MLM, and she didn't make a penny. And she did that for about 2 months before I was finally able to talk her out of doing that. So, I mean, there's people out there that have worked 2 jobs that know that kind of exhaustion, probably similar to first-time parents when, I'm not a parent, so I don't know. I'm just trying to add something to it. But, you know, when your kid's up all the time, you're waking up all the time, or if you're puppy training, stuff like that, and you're up a lot, letting them out, stuff, you don't get sleep. But she was really getting worn down. She had some issues with health, which ultimately led her towards these companies because they claimed all these great health benefits that they couldn't back up. So, but anyway, this video is not necessarily about that. This video is about how to identify a MLM pyramid scheme, right? So let's go ahead and I'm going to pull it up here with the magic of technology. Boom, there we go. So on the screen here, you'll see the article for the pyramid, or from the FTC. Now, I could sit back here and just talk at you like I did last episode, but I figured instead of having you go out and find the article and read it along with watching the video, because not everybody has multiple screens, some people are just on a single laptop, I figured why not just bring it up here and do it myself, right? So we can go over it together. I can hit the highlights. Now, because of the exposition, I guess you could say, the additional stuff in the article lends itself really well to commenting on what it is, obviously. I mean, they put it together. That I'm going to add some things to it, but for the most part, we're going to kind of read this together and go through it. I think that's a really good idea. I encourage you to also read this yourself. That way you have a firm understanding, because if you're one of the people that may be watching this video because you're debating on getting into an MLM, there's a whole section of questions at the end here I can't wait for you to ask yourself about that company. So getting right into it, we see at the top here, what is a pyramid scheme and how do you spot one, right? Like, it seems pretty simple, pretty straightforward. But you'd be surprised how well pyramid schemes are able to just camouflage themselves in things. And they spend a lot of time on literature and videos to convince you that it's not a scheme by pointing out other things that are obvious scams and schemes, so that you're like, well, it's clearly not that, so I'm going to do this. Or they turn around and say something like, oh, well, it's, you know, corporations are technically pyramid schemes too, which I have a whole issue with that. So we'll get into that in a later episode. But yeah, what is a pyramid scheme and how do you spot one? Now, the first thing here is pyramid schemes are scams. We know that, but it's nice to have the FTC just be like, yo, here we go. They can look remarkably like legitimate MLM business opportunities, but if you become a distributor for a pyramid scheme, it can cost you your recruits, often your family and friends, and a lot of time and money that you won't get back. Like, time being the only resource that you can't get back, you choose to spend a lot of your time on a pyramid scheme, you're not going to get a lot of return on investment with that, right? And when I got 2002, I was caught up in a small pyramid scheme. It wasn't as bad as some of the ones are now, but I had to have $150 up front to buy my kit so that I could start selling these knives. And if you know what that scam is, you know. If not, I'm not going to go into detail with it because, first, I don't think the company's even still around. The knives are still around, but the company that I was signed up with to sell those knives isn't around, or if they're in a different number. Well, I may go into that. Comment below if you want me to go deep dive into that and explain that whole story. It's kind of my own fault, a lot of it. Just being naive, 2002, I think I was 18 or 19. So without doing, so it's like, yeah. But yeah, leave a comment if you want me to jump into that. But back to this here. And with that scheme that I got involved with, like I said, I had to have $150 up front to buy my own kit, base level kit. Told me that I would have to upgrade often since new stuff comes out and I want to add things to my kit, and I can't hope to sell the product if I don't have the full display of the items available, right? So yeah, I don't get that money back. I didn't have it. I asked my parents for it. They didn't have it, but they came up with it. As you know, parents often make a lot of sacrifices for their kids, and if they can move some things around to make something like this happen because you've sold them the opportunity of it being an amazing thing, then they're probably going to do it. I kind of wish they didn't. I would have learned a lesson there, but I think the lesson I learned ultimately was better for me anyway. So yeah. The next one on here says the promoters of a pyramid scheme may try to recruit you with pitches about what you'll earn, They may say you can change your life, quit your job, and even get rich by selling the company's products. That's a lie. FTC right there coming right out saying that's a lie. Your income would be based mostly on how many people you recruit, not how much product you sell. Pyramid schemes are set up to encourage everyone to keep recruiting people, to keep a constant stream of new distributors and their money, there it is, flowing into the business. So chances are, if you're watching this video, you've been one of the unlucky ladies out there who've got a hey hun letter. And I'm not saying they don't come to guys, but I don't think it's as much to guys. But you get that message on Facebook or Instagram, hey, you've got a great profile picture, your hair looks really nice, have you thought about making money or starting your own business? If you do, then, I've got this great product and you could make 6 figures or $100,000 a year in your first year. You could make that. Those are some of the crazy things that they will tell you that you can do. And sure, if you're a hustler and you have an amazing way to sell products that no one else can do, you might be able to make 6 figures on product sales. But what you'll learn, and what they talk about later on, even in this article, is that you're not in an MLM business, regardless of the product, you're not going to make enough money to warrant that lifestyle or to back up that claim of you being able to change your life or get rich quick. It's just not going to happen. The products themselves and the way they sell things are not set up. Like I said, they go more detail in it, but when we start looking at different companies, we'll start looking at their financial release statements that I'm sure I'm saying the wrong term, but it's the statement that they put forth that allows you to see what it is you'll be making at what level of the company that you'll be in, as well as the percentage of individuals within the company currently that are making that money as well. And you'll notice the higher the dollar amount, the smaller that percentage number gets. In fact, I think there's one company that has like 1.1% are making the top, which is the top 4 people of the pyramid scheme, the ones that are putting all this together. So, yeah. Starting your own business. Okay, side note, I'm going to rant a little bit. You could essentially, if you're looking to start your own business, get into something simple like an Amazon store or drop shipping if you're not wanting to house any inventory. There's very legitimate drop shipping businesses out there and companies that you can use to really explore that space. I'm not sponsored by this group at all, but it's Shopify. I'm sure there's back and forth as to whether it's good or bad, but I've recently started a couple stores on there and I'm having fun, at least learning the whole process. So, to me, that's money spent wisely, learning a lot about everything really, keyword research, SEO, paid advertisements versus just like natural organic growth, using things like Instagram, things like that to really, bring in customers. You don't get all that here because it's not about your business. It is, they want you to have your own business by making them money. And I'm sorry, you're a contractor at best. You're not your own business person. So this company, have your own business. No, it's a lie. So then they go on to say, often in a pyramid scheme, you'll be encouraged or even required to buy a certain amount of product at regular intervals, even if you already have more inventory than you can use or sell. Just putting a couple out there, LuLaRoe always had people house a lot of their own inventory and buy a lot of it up to make sure they maintain their place in the company. I want to say Paparazzi does the same. That's a jewelry MLM. And I think LuLaRoe was those fancy tights that everyone wore, or yoga pants, or whatever you want to call them. Had all the weird patterns on them that was actually funny. So, yeah. The worst part about having all that stuff is, if you decide to get out, you can't get rid of it. People didn't buy it before. They're not going to buy it now suddenly because you're trying to get rid of it. And if you drop it below the cost of what you paid for it, then you're not making any money. So, garage sale it up. Actually, you know what? Here's a little homework for you if you want it. Google search LuLaRoe garage sales. And back when they were busting, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago when they kind of blew up and failed. I think they might still be around. I'm not certain, but they're definitely not doing as well as they were there for a while. But people would have garage sales with just racks of this stuff up for sale for cheap. People just want to get rid of it. It was funny. I had a friend that actually liked the tights, didn't want to support the company, so she would go around to these sales and just buy up all the tights she could get when they were at like $2-3 a pair when people were trying to get rid of them. So it says here, you may even have to buy products before you're eligible to be paid or get certain bonuses. You also may have to pay repeated fees for other items like training sessions or expensive marketing materials. In addition, the company may say you can earn lavish rewards, prizes, bonuses, exotic vacations, and luxury cars. Stop right there for a second. So I know with like Monet, the hair care MLM, you can earn, I think it's a Cadillac Escalade, and they give that to you. But you have to maintain your level in the company to do it. So if you have a really awesome string of months where you're recruiting a bunch of people and you finally reach that point where you can get that car, and then suddenly you don't do so well for the next 3 months and you fall below that rank, that car's gone. That ain't your car. That's a company car, essentially, that you get to use and get to take pictures with and act. They encourage you to make it feel like it's your own. And they'll tell you it's your car, but it's really not. So don't get got, right? However, it often turns out that you have to meet certain product purchase, recruitment, training, or other goals to qualify for the rewards, and only a handful of distributors ever qualify. And you'll see them. They post their stuff all over YouTube about how awesome their life is because they've got all this stuff here. So, yeah, don't fall for it. Make sure you know what you're getting involved in. And the old adage, what is it? If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Yeah, that's a good one to keep in line, or keep in the back of your mind for these sort of things. But then they also come on here to say, eventually, most distributors find that no matter how hard they work, they can't sell enough inventory or recruit enough people to make money. You're not going to make it. And like when we go over the financial statement, you'll see you're not going to make money. They also can't keep up with the required fees or the inventory purchases they need to make to qualify for the rewards, so they lose the rewards and lose all the bonuses. Even if they worked real hard and earned enough to go on it, then suddenly they're no longer eligible for it because they drop below the level that's required. So, and they can't even earn enough money to cover their expenses. So in the end, most people run out of money and have to quit and lose everything they've invested. Imagine that you got, to use lack of a better term, by one of these MLM companies, and you've been involved with it for 5 to 7 years. With as much hate as MLMs get on the internet now, there's a good chance that when you brought these ideas up to your friends and family, someone in there was like, yeah, it's a scam, get away from it. And you probably fought against that. No, it's not. Prove to me it is, stuff like that. And then you finally realize, oh, this is scammy and kind of sketch. I don't much care for this anymore. Let's go ahead and jump out of it and try to get out. But you're out all that money you spend, because a lot of these companies, and you'll find that people will pay into their companies and buy more of the product because they want to make sure that their sales numbers are at that level. And if they're at that level, then they're good. So you work 40 hours a week, say you got a full-time job. So that right there is 8 hours, 8 to 9 hours, depending on travel time, right? Maybe even more, depending on where you live. And you're coming home and spending the rest of your time throwing into this business that you are being told is your business, but you're realizing it's really not. You spent your own money to make sure you maintain these levels. You spent your own money on things like your additional costs, like a website, and we'll get into more of that a little later. You're finally done, and you look back at your last 5 years, and sure, you may have made money here and there, but you never made enough money to pay your bills after paying back everything you've already paid into it. So it's not worth it. And they're telling you straight up, you will probably lose everything invested. Now, they've got some warning signs of a pyramid scheme. Now, one of them is, promoters make extravagant promises about your earnings potential. You could earn 6 figures, $100,000 a year. Your first year, you can make so much money doing this. It's so easy. The FTC turns around and says, stop. These promises are false. They straight Dwight Schruted them on that. False. So, you got to respect that. But it's not wrong. If something says that you can, I guess the only two sure things that exist in life is death and taxes, right? One of the very rare, extremely rare possible ways to get rich quick is to win the lottery. But You know, how many people actually do that? Like, look up the percentage of individuals in America that win a substantial amount from a lottery or any other lottery or gambling type thing. It's like going to the casino thinking you're going to take your 10,000 and turn it into 120,000. It just doesn't work. House always wins. And in this situation, you're gambling with your money and your resources, and the house is the MLM pyramid scheme, and they're going to win. They're going to take you for everything you have and leave you with nothing. That's a bit dramatic, but you know, that's the mindset. So promoters emphasizing recruiting new distributors for your sales network as the real way to make money. Yeah, you can sell the product. You're not going to make any money. Recruit people. You might make money for them. They're going to push you. Walk away. And in a legitimate MLM program, you should be able to make money by just selling the product. Recruitment is the only way, so I'll tell you to recruit more people so I make more money. It's a scam. Promoters play on your emotions or use high-pressure sales tactics, maybe saying you'll lose the opportunity if you don't act now, discouraging you from taking the time to study the company. Now, I think this bullet point is kind of underrated, or like you read it and you think, okay, cool, just pay attention. It's a little tougher than that. I had made mention before that I was involved in a company back in 2002 where I had to pay $150 up front. Well, I got hired to the company on a Tuesday and was told, because I didn't have the money at the time, that I had to come up with that money and provide it by that following Friday. And if I didn't, then I wouldn't be part of the company. I'd be fired and I wouldn't be able to be rehired. Which maybe I should have just let that go, but no, I got it in, and that was their way of making money. And I almost missed out on a brand new employee orientation slash, what do they call it? Essentially a workshop for sales tactics and stuff like that, better ways for me to sell the product that they had. It came with displays, professional salespeople that are part of the company coming through, and maybe they are. I don't know. It was fancy, sure, the bells and whistles. I mean, it was at a hotel like meeting hall, so it was cool, but anyway, back to this here. They tell you to leave by the nearest exit. Any company that tries to pressure you to join is one to avoid. Yeah, if you want to get involved in actual sales, say you're wanting to explore that portion of life. Me, I'm not a good salesman, so I'm not going to do that. But you might be. Get a job with a company that is going to pay you, and you get commission based off that pay. So like your major companies, Hoover, for example, right? Like vacuum sales, mattress sales, car sales, things like that. Like go cut your teeth on those sort of areas, or even work at a collections company, because you got to use sales tactics to get money from people for collections. Or telemarketers, you could do that. Don't recommend it. That's a pain, but you could. So the next bullet point on here, well, actually, you know what? Let's go back to that. Promoters play on your emotions and use high-pressure sales tactics, maybe saying you'll lose the opportunity if you don't act now. There should be nothing that you'd lose an opportunity on, except maybe like a once-a-year vacation, and you just got to wait till the next year to get it. So don't let them push you into doing that, because it's not that important for them, but not for you. The next bullet point on here is distributors buy more product than they want to use or can resell just to stay active in the company to qualify for bonuses or other rewards. We've already touched on that about the structure. So if you see that in your company as part of the last bullet point, when you do your research on the company you're thinking about and getting involved in, and you see they have a reward-based system, find out all you can about that if you want to get involved. But these guys are saying, if you see this happening, keep your money. Just don't even get involved. Getting rewards for reaching levels when you are in a job or a business or something is not negative, right? It's like setting goals. So like one thing I'm doing right now is I'm writing a script, feature, first time doing it. I just want to do it. I don't know if it's any good or not. It's not really going to be for me to determine. If it goes good, cool, awesome. But one of the things that I want to do is once I write it and it's done, then I want to take myself on like a little camping trip or something as like a reward for congratulations, you did this. So if you're working at another job, say you work at a sales-based company and you're doing actual sales and you have a goal that you're reaching for, like Cancun vacation or a Vegas trip or something, and that's okay, but that's something you should do for yourself. You shouldn't rely on the company or like really want the reward for this company, or this company selling you this on this particular package. Don't feed into it. They're counting on you having never been to those places and want to do it to really drive it in, and B, the fact that you probably can't afford that, which that's not a bad thing. Not being able to afford it just means you got to like pick up part-time or something, do a little extra side hustle to make up and save over time. So that's the bullet points for what is a pyramid scheme and how do you spot one. So using that, you should be able to determine, okay, this is a scam. And so essentially like forcing or requiring you to buy into the company, scam for the most part. Trying to sell you on get rich quick. No job will allow you to get rich quick unless it's a high profile job. You've been through many years of college for it. It has a massive sign-on bonus and it's for an actual company. And that also then determines like what is getting rich for you. Like going from $20,000 a year working a part-time retail job to earning, $70,000 to $80,000 a year in the IT or the professional field that you want to be involved in. Like that could potentially be considered getting rich. I mean, it comes with its own caveats, like an additional tax bracket, but you got to determine that on your own. So yeah. Then they come down here and they ask you these questions here. Is an MLM right for you? So say you're sitting back here, you're listening to this video. You're sitting back here going, yeah, but Mystery, I think you're being a little too hard on them. I don't think you really know what you're talking about. All right, cool. So let's see what the FTC says you should do, right? Now, do your own research on your companies, but these are the questions. The bullet points we just saw and these questions right here are what we're going to use. This is the filter that we're going to put against these MLMs that we're going to look at. And when we shake that filtering pan or, like filtering for gold or panning for gold, it better just be the raw product coming out that you make money on and not the actual scam portion of it or recruitment portion. And they have put these together really well, and I'm excited to use them. So I'm just going to kind of read through these with you here. So is an MLM right for you? If you're considering joining an MLM, know that some MLMs, even ones that aren't pyramid schemes, may not be a wise investment. And I think that's a good takeaway right there, right? Even the ones that aren't pyramid schemes might not be the best for you. Other MLMs may not be a good fit for your interests and lifestyle. Here are some tips to help protect yourself against a bad MLM experience. One of the questions they ask you here is, do you want to be a salesperson? And I've already said before, I'm not a salesperson, right? I would rather, like if I had to work for a corporation, I would rather just work in a job, put my head down, put in my 8 hours, get my paycheck, come home, right? Now, I understand that there are some people that will say everything you do in life is a sales position, and they're not wrong. I mean, there's some things that you do, like sales isn't always only about money, right? For instance, like I was telling you that I've got a couple of e-commerce businesses set up, and the types of sales that I do in that is not so much, hey, come buy this, but I have to do a lot of research to find keywords that will help that product be more enticing for people. And that's actually quite tough, but I find I can do that versus like calling somebody on the phone and saying, hey, I'm with this company here. I would like to discuss an opportunity for these particular items. They're actually really quality. I wouldn't be sold by me. So they ask you here, do you want to be a salesperson? If you join an MLM, you will be a salesperson. Your job will be to sell the company's product and in many cases convince other people to join, invest, and sell. If you don't like selling, or if you are uncomfortable asking people to put their time and money into a business venture, joining an MLM is a bad idea. Yeah, it kind of speaks for itself, right? Next one on here is, do you have a solid sales plan? So you're a salesperson, you're going along with it. What's your sales plan? Consider whether you have friends or family who will buy this product from you over and over again. Now that's a big point right there, right? Some products you don't want to buy a second time, or you don't need to buy them a second time. But if you're going to be able to sell this stuff, your friends and family and people that you sell it to, like, is it a product that they need to get more of? I mean, everybody buys shampoo and toothpaste, right? So stuff like that. But then what's the products? So then they go on to say, think about how you would find and keep other regular customers. Can people buy something like this product elsewhere for maybe less? One thing that I've found with exploring the e-commerce and dropshipping space is the items that I find I have to mark up because it's a manufacturer and a wholesaler that already have them. And in order for me to make money, I buy them at a lower cost and sell them at a higher cost so that I make the middle difference. And some of the products that are out there, and I'll go to other drop shipping sites and things like that and look at products that I have to kind of get an idea as to how my pricing is, will be outrageously priced. And then I know, okay, all I have to do is go to the host website or the wholesaler website, and I could probably find that same product for cost. And I do this a lot with Etsy stuff. Since Etsy has relaxed their requirements for handmade, it's not so much about what an artist puts up or a craftsperson puts up as much as it is a drop shipping site. It's insane, but I'll look there and be like, okay, these people are selling it for cost. So very clearly it is the wholesaler that sells to me for the same price they're selling to you, but I have to do a markup. So then I have to build my community in order to get things done. So yeah, always look to see if you can buy it for less. Amazon's there for a reason, right? So what are your income goals, right? You might think that with your willingness to work hard, you can earn substantial income through the MLM. In fact, most people who join MLMs and work hard make little or no money. And some of them lose money. Yeah. My friend, 40 hours a week in addition to. So if you were to think back and go, okay, so that person's working for a major financial institution earning about $22 an hour, averaging a little over $40,000 a year. You apply that same concept to their own business that's run by this company, and they're not making an hourly wage. It's all purely based on what they bring in. They're wasting money at that point. They could be applying that time, that additional 40 hours a week on YouTube, learning how to trade stock, day trade, do other things, find other alternative ways to make money, get into e-commerce and stuff like that, like real e-commerce. So losing money. Can you afford to risk the money and time? That's a big one too, right? Because this whole channel is based on getting away from paycheck to paycheck and finding ways to supplement your income that are not going to cost you a lot to get involved in. So if you're already here looking at those other things and you're coming across this video, there's a good chance you don't have an additional whatever the cost to get started in that company. It's a risk. Now, I understand with businesses, you have to spend money to make money, but that's choosing your money to invest in things like advertising, product samples, so that you can do your own videos and your own ads without hiring a company to do it or using the stock photos for these particular companies that. Because a lot of drop shipping companies, when they get it from the wholesaler will have a series of photos and stuff like that. And depending on the region of the world, the models that are actually modeling it may not know they're modeling it. And what I mean by that is the copyright laws are very different. And here, a model sees me with her picture up on my store selling a product that she never wore or agreed to model, then I'm in trouble. I can be ordered to take that picture down at the least, or I could face a fine, copyright violation, which you don't want that. So yeah, can you afford the money and time? So every business venture has risks. MLMs are no different. Even if the startup costs seem low, additional expenses can add up quickly. Expenses can include training and travel costs, website fees. There it is, $30 that get into that. Website fees, promotional materials, cost to host parties, and cost to buy products. If you need to borrow money or use your credit card to finance your expenses, you may face hefty interest charges too. Also, considering the time demands of the business, like going to training, recruiting new distributors, managing paperwork, recording inventory, and shipping products. That's the bit right there that a lot of people don't realize. So if you're going to have a business where you have to buy a lot of the product and you have to house inventory, you have to keep a ledger of, you have to keep, a you keep a spreadsheet of how much of all the things that you have and how much of each individual item you have left. When you need to reorder, you need to do the research to find out if something is going to be discontinued. Now, I understand a lot of that stuff will just go away with the company, but you're going to find yourself doing a lot more stuff that's going to take away from the core aspect of that particular MLM, which is to recruit people. So you're going to have to manage all this other stuff on top of trying to do all this stuff to recruit. You're going to just waste time and money. So they tell you here to do your homework. And these here, I'm just going to read them as they are because they're really good tips and I don't really need to add additional stuff to them. Research the company. Search online for the name of the company and any words like review or scam or complaint. You may also want to look for articles about the company in newspapers, magazines, or even online, Yelp, things like that. Like if you're going to go to a restaurant, you look at the Yelp, see what people like and say. Same thing applies. Does the company have a good reputation for customer satisfaction? Check with your state attorney general for complaints. That's one right there. I'm going to pause real quick because I didn't know you could reach out to your state attorney general's office to determine whether or not they have complaints about a certain type of business. And they'll be very honest with you because, it's not hurting them to tell you that this company is terrible. So highly recommend it. And it says here, a lack of complaints doesn't guarantee that a company is legitimate, but complaints can tip you off to possible problems. How many times have you gone to Amazon and you've looked at a product and you thought, okay, that's cool, but do I need this? Let me see some reviews for this. Let me find out if this particular image is quality or this product is quality. So you go and you look at the reviews and you see 50 to 100 4- and 5-star reviews, but then you see like 12 or 13 percent that are negative review, or 12 to 13 or even 20 to 25 negative reviews or 1 star. I looked through those 1 star to see what people are complaining about. Did they just misread the product? Did they not know what they were getting involved in? Or was it a problem where the product was faulty? Because you can buy good reviews on products. You can buy good things like 5-star ratings and stuff like that. So I always pay attention to the ones that are low. And in this situation, if I'm thinking about joining an MLM, I'm going to look at the ratings. I'm going to read all of the negative ones because I want to know what they expect. Because people, while they may be overly dramatic with the reason why they're leaving, you read between the lines on that and you might find some really good information as to what the company's really about. Research what distributors are saying. Individual distributors often post their own training videos online to promote the MLM. Search for these materials. Be suspicious if the trainings make earnings claims tell you that the fastest way to make money is to recruit, or suggest that all you need to do to build a downline, find 2 people who find 2 people, and so on, right? Claims like these are hallmarks of a pyramid scheme. Real quick disclosure, I had to reread that like 20 times because for some reason my brain was not able to flow with the sentence of be suspicious if the trainings make earnings claims, tell you that the fastest way to make money is to recruit, or suggest that all you need to do is build a downline. Oh, see, even there I messed it up again. Is to find 2 people who find 2 people, and so on. So yeah, read that one a few times. But again, if it's recruitment based, it's a negative. So that's another identifier of a pyramid scheme. Consider the products. And this is the one that I think is really important. The other stuff you can kind of scam through, but read the products. I know there's one hair care company that I'll discuss this more when I'm reviewing that company that will tell you that your hair falling out is okay because it wasn't really there anyway. It was just held on by artificial stuff and gunk, right? And that the small little hairs that are popping up all over your head are actually baby hairs and not breakage. It's breakage, right? So you consider the products. MLM companies may sell quality items at competitive prices, but some offer goods that are overpriced, have questionable benefits, or are downright unsafe to use. So, essential oils. Yeah, remember that craze? Still a thing. People ingesting essential oils because it's organic, it's all natural. But its scents are artificial and chemical based, right? and you're not supposed to consume them, but they do. Cures cancer, doesn't. So they have some examples here. For example, be very skeptical about health products advertising as having miracle ingredients or guaranteed results, right? Those claims are generally false or at least unproven, and at worst, the product could be dangerous. You will see a reoccurring thing when we go through some of the products here on this channel that will tell you that it's been scientifically tested. It doesn't say scientifically proven, or you can't get access to those test results, because they just want you to know that it's been looked at by a scientist. It may still be good. Scientists looked at it, so it's tested. Not always a good thing. Understand the costs. Many MLMs make you buy training or marketing materials or pay for seminars on building your business. You may need to book travel and pay for hotels and meals. Make sure you know what you must pay for and how much it'll cost over time. If the company says some of these things like periodic product purchasing or training are optional, find out if you'll become ineligible for bonuses or rewards if you opt out of them. So, yeah, okay, that's a good one there. And here's the thing about a lot of the stuff. And I've been watching a lot of stock guys on YouTube that are buy my program, pay $150, $400 for this here. Don't. There is so much information on YouTube that is free, and you can generally do a quick Google search and find out whether or not the person you're about to watch is quality or not. So when it comes to training materials and things like that, you shouldn't need to buy all that stuff. And what happens when training A is $100, training B is an additional $150 because it's got 8 hours of new and improved training material, all the way up through like training, C or D, that'll cost you over $1,000 for the whole program. Ask about refunds. In many MLMs, before you can start selling the product, you have to buy them from the company. So get the company's refund policy in writing. Make sure it includes information about returning any unused products, including restrictions and penalties. Consider whether you'll get a full refund or only a partial one, and how long it'll take. Let me just highlight that here as well again. That's the thing with this stuff, right? So you may get a partial refund. Say you spent $150 on, whatever the cost of it is. You go to return it and they're like, well, we're only going to give you 35% of what you paid. Now think about that like a car. You buy a car, as soon as you drive it off the lot, you've lost value. You're never going to sell it for what it is you bought it for. Same thing with a lot of these products. A lot of these products are things that can't be reused, so it just gets tossed when it comes back. So they're not going to buy it back from you at a reasonable price. Plus, they're going to make it difficult for you to send things back, especially if they know they're a scam. So they're going to turn around and make the refund policy set up to where it takes like 6 months to get your money back. They're going to make it so that it's just not worth it. You just take an L and walk away. So the next thing on here is read the paperwork and have a friend or advisor review it. Read the company's sales literature, business plan, disclosure documents, and any contract or agreements you'll need to sign. Ask an accountant or lawyer or someone else you trust and who is not, that's highlighted, not affiliated with the company to help you review the MLM's materials. Ask them to look at your possible earnings and whether the company can back up its claims about how much money you can make. Ask for their honest opinion about whether they think the MLM is legitimate and a good fit for you. So financial wise, you can probably just check back here. In fact, actually, hey, let's do this. If there's an MLM that you're looking at that you're thinking about getting involved with, leave a comment or hit me up on my socials. You can see them all down here at the bottom. Tell me this company and we'll go through it. If you want, we can even make it a streaming thing, right? Like we can sit back and really dive into it and apply these things in real time against the company during the stream, or I can make a video on it. In fact, that would actually be ideal because the goal for this is to create a community that is there to help everybody, so that if you come in with a question about an MLM, you've got a lot of people to talk to that can help you real fast identify whether or not it's a good fit. Now, obviously, only you can decide what's the best fit for you and whether or not you want to get involved in. But when it comes to the financials and whether or not you're going to be able to make the money they claim you'll be able to make, we're definitely going to break that down on this channel. And we'll probably come back and say that you can't. But there may be that unicorn amongst all of them. So we'll definitely dive into it and really figure it out. I don't have an accountant or a lawyer friend that I could ask for things like that. So if you do, that's awesome. Highly recommend reaching out to them. Again, you could just talk to the state attorney's office about things like that. They won't give you any legal advice. Obviously, they're a government agency, but they could tell you whether or not, there's lawsuits against things like that. Yeah, that's good advice. Reach out to an accountant or lawyer or someone else you trust, not affiliated. That's about it. There is an additional area down here that says to talk with current and past distributors about their experience in the MLM. So for that, I would highly recommend, like if you go into YouTube and you type in anti-MLM, or you go to Reddit and you search for MLM, you're going to come across tons of videos, tons of message board threads about experience of people who have worked at these companies and left them, and really feel that their experience with that is something that you should pay attention to. So, I mean, yeah, if you want to ask somebody about that, reach out, or not reach out, just go to YouTube and search it. You'll find tons of people involved with it. And that's really good too, because there's a good chance if you're thinking about getting into one that's reached out to you, there's already somebody who's been in that and left that. That's about it. Like, I know I just kind of read from the article and went over things from the article. And that's not a bad thing, because it's a decent article. And I will have a link to the article in the description of this video. I think it's an important thing to have up. Highly recommend reading into it. Now, you could even apply some of these things about a lot of things in life too, like the whole, is it worth time and money and things like that. Yeah, but thanks for coming along with this. I'm really excited about where this series is going to go. I wanted to get the ability to identify an MLM as well as the ability to identify a pyramid scheme right off the start, so we know exactly what the pace is going to be, right? I know this video was late coming up. I had some problems. I actually recorded this video 3 times, this being the 3rd time, but there was a voice mod that I installed a while ago for gaming and stuff like that and things that I do in my off time. And I accidentally turned on the megaphone voice for my last video, and I had to re-record, or the last recording of this video, I had to re-record it again. So plus with those 2 business launchings that I was talking about, a lot of times been brought up in that. So, but yeah, we're definitely going to get another video up. Now the next video is going to be about an actual company. So we've got the descriptors out of the way. It's time to dive into our first company. And I will be putting up on my Instagram, which is down there, what company that's going to be. So I'll post that before I actually release the video, so you can do a little bit of quick digging on it and, get into that video with me. And if I miss something, leave a comment for it. So I'm really excited. It's going to be fun. These things go after your personal time and money, and they try to take everything away from you. And that really irritates me. Yeah, so I am going to say, don't let them flatline you. That's the tag for this, for my brand or this thing, never let them flatline you. They will try so hard to take things away from you and to leave you with nothing. Don't let them do it. So, all right. Like and subscribe if you want. I appreciate it. No pressure.